Hi folks, I'm going to quickly go over what we did in class yesterday, but take it a step further to add sides to the model and also look at a slightly different shape model as well. So started off by creating a layer for the interpolated contours. So I'm just going to call this Interpolate, make it a wee bit brighter colour so we can see it, make it current. Okay, I'm going to switch off a few of these layers because there's just a bit too much going on here. So use the off command here, get rid of these big numbers, get rid of the street shapes, get rid of the buildings, and these little bits of text as well. Just a bit of clutter that can go. Okay, we'll keep whatever's left then. Okay, and the first thing I did was trace over the contours that we've got here. And so I'm going to use polylines for that. Okay, and we want the object snaps to not have much on, so I'm going to go endpoint and nearest. Okay, so we've got a polyline. Let's start over here. I'm purposely taking it a wee bit further away because I want to use these again in a wee bit later on. So just simplifying these, they tend to be a bit messy. It's just far too many kind of line portions in them. Okay, so we'll just take it a bit further out. Okay, same here. Okay, these red contours are at their correct heights. Okay, so the ones we're tracing on will be at their correct heights as well. Come around the bend, maybe need another bit further. I'm just going to take this around here. Okay, now we can turn off the red ones. Okay, and I'm just going to check this in 3D just to make sure. Just shift and middle mouse. Okay, so there we go, we've got our contours simplified. And plan, enter twice to look back down on it. So, a lot of stuff over here we really don't need to see at all, so I'm just going to delete that stuff. Got some stuff up here. You know, the less stuff you have, the quicker it's going to rotate. So we'll just kind of get rid of anything we don't need there. Okay, so now what we need to do is join these together. So just a normal line. Okay, and you can do this in plan quite safely. Okay, so I'm going to go from here to here, and I kind of want to, if possible, you kind of hit perpendicular, but it's not essential. Okay, so wherever we've got a major change of direction, we kind of need another one of these lines. So we're a bit kind of bendy here, so let's bring in another one. So probably doing a few more than we did in class yesterday because we're always up against time in class. Okay, and it's going to be a bit trickier over here. We need to kind of get around the bend if we can. So let's add a few more here to allow us to get around this bend. So I'm going to be stopping the video. I'm not going to draw everything, so otherwise the video will take a bit too long. Okay, so we've got this kind of rib cage spider's web in 3D. Looks quite useful already. Okay, but now what we need to do is divide each of these by 5. Okay, if we do that we won't be able to see the point, so if I just show you, if I divide, pick this, number of segments 5, enter. It's happened, but you can't see the points. So if I just select over this, there they are. So to make sure that you're visible, you'd use PD mode, enter 66. PD size, enter 1000. Okay, so so this is at 15 meters. That point will be at exactly 14 meters. So if I list that point, there you go. 14,000 for the height. Okay, so 13, 12, 11, 10, and on we go. So I'm going to pause the video and then restart it once I've divided all of these by 5. Okay, and then the last one, divide, pick, 5, enter. Okay, so I don't think I mentioned it, but the white shape is the site model shape that we're going to create. So a wee bit awkward being this shape, but it makes it a bit more interesting. So now what we need to do is join these together. So all we need for object snaps is node. So if we switch off these and just leave node on, and then again it's polylines between these. Okay, so we'll do one and then pause the video. So we're going between all of the points that are at 14,000, then we'll go to the 13,000, etc. Okay, last one, polyline. So we're at the 6,000 points. These are all at the same height. Okay, and I did that in 3D. Could have done it in 2D because the object snap would control it nicely. So I'm just going to put it back to plan. Okay. Right, I'm going to kind of use this setup a little bit later on as well. So I'm just going to copy what we've got here. And we'll use this later on. Okay, so I'm just going to stick that to one side. Okay, now what we need to do is trim the contours. Okay, so we can, even though this line is down on the ground at level 0, if I list it, you can see it's at level 0. It's quite happy to trim the polylines that are up at different heights. So that's what we'll do, is trim off. I've got trim mode set to standard, so let's just put it back to quick because it's probably the one you'll be using. Okay, so we'll just chop these off. Okay, same with the burn here. Okay, the colour of the burn's a bit awkward. I think I'm just going to change the colour of that layer soon so we can see it a bit easier. Just make it a brighter blue. Okay, let's get that. Chop, chop, chop. Okay, so everything outside is now for deleting. So we're not interested in that outside down model zone. Okay, over on this side. Get rid of that. Get rid of those. Okay, right. What I'm going to do is just make that burn the current layer and then just change the layer color because it's a bit difficult to see. So let's just make it a paler blue. Okay, a bit better. Okay, if we want to, we could save this. I'm just going to save it as a slightly different name. I'll just call it St. Andrews Landscape. Yeah, I'll call it St. Andrews Landscape 2 because I've already got one there. So okay, and then I'll purge this. And it'll just get rid of. I get rid of some layers anyway. Purge all checked items. That's a bit better already. Okay, so what we're going to do next is set up the level bits of ground. This is kind of what we did in class. So we'll say we've got a level bit of ground at the top of the hill and we've got a level bit of ground next to the burn. Okay, now the line for the burn is in 2 pieces. So firstly I'm just going to zoom in on the junction where it is and fillet those 2 together just so they're one piece. So I've got fillet here and just join those 2 so we've got a single polyline. Okay, and what we need is the shape of this bit of land and the shape of this, but the water's down at the wrong height. That's at level 0. It should really be up here, the edge of the banking at 5 meters. Okay, so let's move that up. Oh, sorry, copy that up. We'll copy it upwards. Okay, make sure ortho's on. Okay, base point anywhere, and we're going up 5,000. Okay, so we need these again. I don't want to use them just now because we would end up having to trace the edge of the burn again. Okay, so this one's fairly easy. We just draw a line. So let's get end point on here now on the object snaps. Instead of node, we'll finish with node. So end point. So just draw a line from the end there to the end there. Okay, and then fillet those together. So fillet. Make sure you get the end of it. Okay. The safe way of dealing with this is to ped it, PE, pick the shape, and close it. Okay. Now let's get the landscape shape on this side. This is a bit easier. We can trace, even though we're at height here, the polyline won't drop downwards. So we can draw a polyline from endpoint here to endpoint, 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 and back to here. Okay, again, fillet those two together. So we've got a closed polyline. So these are nice and easily turned into what's called regions, flat areas. Same job up here. We've got our top contour here, and if we draw from that, okay, to the corner of the model, and back to here. Okay, and again, fillet those so we've got a shape that we can region. Okay, new layer, and let's just call this one flat. So it's flat land, just so we can tell the difference. And we'll make this kind of a dark green. Okay, make it current. And then region this, this, and this. Okay, notice all three have gone green, so that means the region's been successful. And if we shade that, okay, it's starting to look a bit more model-like now. Okay, let's deal with the burn. So let's create a new layer for the burn. I'll use capitals. Burn. Extra R's in there. And let's use this. Oh, it's a bit similar to the cyan, isn't it? Let's go kind of darkish blue. Okay, teal type color. Make that current. Close. Okay, we need to close this off. So same way we did before. Okay, let's fillet. Well, let's switch off the white because it seems to be. Sometimes you find if you work in a shaded view, it doesn't pick the right objects. Always seems to pick the wrong one. So fillet, line to line, fillet again. Right, see, it's going for the wrong one there. Let's just switch off the 0. Switch off layer 0. Okay, and fillet these two together. Okay, what we did before was ped it and close. PE, enter, pick the shape, close. Okay, now move that up onto here. So that would look like flat water, kind of exactly in line with the land. So if we region that, so it looks like the water's in line with the land, which is a bit unrealistic. So we'll extrude that. Okay, minus 1000. So let's say the banking is 1000 high. Okay, we can explode that, and we can take away the ends, the top, and this end. Okay, and the edges here could join on to the flat land, so it looks like the banking's coming down. So you'd use match properties for that. MA, pick. Oh, it's taking all those as individual. So what we've got to do is here, to use a mirror, use a window instead. Got a lot more faces there. Would have been probably more sensible to have kind of traced over the edge of the the water. It's not a big deal, but a few more minutes wasted. Okay, so we'll get all those green, so that looks a bit more realistic in a completely unrealistic way. Okay, so next job is to 3D face this. So I'm just going to stop the video there because I don't want to risk going on too long. So that's what we'll do now, is we'll have a break at this point. Okay, so we're resuming the video and we're going to 3D face this now, but we've got a little bit more to add from our interpolations. So let's just get back to that layer and put layer 0 back on. Okay, and need to show you this in plan view, so I'll look down on it. Okay, let's go back to 2D wireframe, be a bit easier. Okay, so you see a corner here, it doesn't have a kind of a height that we can work to. We don't really want to do a surface that goes from here to here, because we'd be missing the edge of our model, wouldn't be very tidy. Okay, so that's a problem there, and we've got the same problem here, that we don't have a height in this position, because it's here we're at 9 meters, here we're at 10 meters, so here we'd be at like about 9.25. And if I ask it what we've got there, so it's 9.8 meters at that end of that line, 10 meters at the end of that one, 9 meters at the end of that one, but it's at 0 there. So we need this one to be at about 9.3, something like that. So best way to do that is just draw a polyline from by eye, so you're picking roughly nearest to end point. So if we put nearest back on and then do a polyline from nearest to end point. Then if I ask it what the height of the end of that line is, there you go, 9.235. So it's approximate, but it gives you a bit of something to work with. Okay, I used the command ID there, by the way. Okay, another polyline from roughly about here, I would say, to the end point. And if I ID that, it's going to be something like 6.2, 6278. There we go. Okay, so we're able to now put 3D surfaces on all this, and if we switch off the white layer, we can do this from above. And I wouldn't use the shaded mode as you're working, because it can be a bit slow or pick the wrong corners. Okay, so now we don't need these nodes. We don't need to go to nodes because we've got endpoints for all of these. So just endpoint will work. Okay, and we're going to use 3D faces, and a lot of these are going to be four-sided. So let me just show you that. So it's 3F, enter, go from endpoint to endpoint, endpoint, endpoint. Press enter to stop. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer there, sorry. I haven't created my 3D surface layer yet. So layer properties, new layer, okay, and let's just call this slope. Slope, and let's make it bright green. Okay, make it current. Okay, so I don't need ortho on, that's making it feel a bit restrictive. Okay, so it's 3F, enter, 1, 2, 3, 4, enter to stop, enter to use the command again. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, enter to stop, enter to use the command again. This one's a bit different because we've got a kink in the contour there. So what I need to do is a 3D face, a 3-sided 3D face here, and then a 4-sided one. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, enter, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, enter, enter. Okay, let's do this middle bit together, and then I'm going to leave you guys to do the rest yourself. So 1, 2, 3, Now I've run out of corners. 4, enter, enter. 1, 2, 3, enter, enter, enter. Okay, here we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Enter, enter. Down here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now take it steady. Make sure you pick up every endpoint. So here, what we need to do, we can't do a 4-sided one above this because we've got 5 corners to deal with. Okay, so it's 3F again. 1, 2, 3, enter, enter, enter. Then a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, enter. Now I can see a little problem here. See there? There's a gap. So on the contour there must be another endpoint that I missed. So that's quite lucky. Give you a wee example. So what I'm going to do is correct this one. Okay. And what would probably be better to do is just get rid of the dodgy shape. Okay. Do a 3-sided one from 1, 2, 3, enter, 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 and then a 4-sided one to fill in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you're looking for things like that where there's little gaps. Okay, and then when you think you're doing okay, just give it a shade. Okay, turn it around, make it have a good look. Okay, and you can do the work in the shaded mode if you want. So we could go 1, 2, 3, enter, enter, enter. 1, 2, 3, 4, enter, enter. 1, 2, 3, 4, enter, enter, and on you go. Okay, you notice I've been doing all those anti-clockwise, and that makes that face upwards. Okay, I'm going to pause the video there and then fill in the rest of that surface. And the last 3D face. Okay, so that model is absolutely fine for visualization. So say your building was in here, you wouldn't need to do a heck of a lot more than that. That could be dressed up in twin motion. You could add reeds and grass and things and stuff around the edges of the bankings and trees and plants, etc. Okay, if we wanted to 3D print this though, it needs sides on it. You can't 3D print something that's just paper thin. Okay, so we have to now bring back on layer 0, and if we're happy to keep that height, we could move this a bit closer to make it a bit quicker to 3D print. Okay, but at the moment we'll just leave the white line where it is, and I'll create a layer for the sides. Okay, let's make them say yellow so we can see them. Okay, and it's just similar job. So we're just 3D facing, but at the sides instead. But we're coming down to the white instead. So it's 3F again. 1, 2, 3, enter, enter, enter. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to kind of do this more in triangles than anything else. So make sure I get the corner. So you see how it's kind of building up? And all that should be vertical, because we use the white line to trim off the model. So again, you want to make sure you kind of pick up every point. Ooh, we've got a little glitch here. I've missed a little bit, I think. So need to do a little bit more on the slope. Let's just have a look at this from the top. I think I've missed a tiny slither there. Yeah, you see there's a wee slither there that should be there. Very thin 3D triangle. It's gaps like that would make it not 3D print. So if there's holes in it, it won't 3D print. Okay, back to the sides. So you've got to be really quite careful. You know, the software doesn't always tell you where the problem is. Okay, let's come over to here now and start going up the hill in that way. Okay, so I'll just do these two sides and then I'll complete the other ones. Okay, at the back it's just a simple one 3D face right the way across, dead easy. Similarly at the front, these are simpler panels, don't need to be triangulated. Okay, just pick up each change of direction, make sure everything's going to be, the idea is you get a model that's called watertight. Okay, I will fill this bit in and restart the video. Okay, that's it sealed around the sides. What we don't have is a base on this. Okay, but that was on layer 0. So if I just switch off the sides temporarily, and I could region that, so reg. Okay, it has to be a closed polyline to be able to do that. Okay, maybe put that onto a layer called base, just so you can kind of identify things a bit easier. Let's make it brown or something. Okay, and that is my base. That didn't change, did it? Change the base, please. That's better. Okay, so base, sides, slope. The interpolate stuff is now done its job, and that is 3D printable. Okay, you would take that into Rhino and export it as an OBJ. Okay, we're at life size at the moment, so obviously that wouldn't fit on a 3D printer. 1/500th of that would. So just quickly show you that. You would scale everything, enter, pick a base point. Okay, it's being glitchy there. Hold on, let's zoom out a bit. Let's try that again. Scale. That's better. We want reference, so the reference would be 500 and the target size 1. Okay, so it's teeny now, but it would fit on the 3D printer. So it's 1/500th of its size, so they're about 120 millimeters across. Okay, I'm just going to undo that just to bring it back to full size. Okay, so that ends the kind of first part video where it's kind of a 3D faced model. You know, these are good because you can basically just cut bits out, you know, put your building in and then marry it back up to the landscape. So it's just using that 3D face triangulation makes it much easier. Okay, good luck with that. I'm going to do another bit of experimentation and add this as a kind of addendum video.